Hi, everyone. And here, head of community at Livepeer. Pronouns are they, them. Welcome to Livepeer Fireside. We have a shorter program for you today. But like I had mentioned, Fireside can go between 5 and 45 minutes. So, yeah, buckle in. And I hope you enjoy the show. Also, for the LGBTQ Livepeer members, happy Pride. And also, happy Men's Mental Health Day, Mental Health Month. So, yes. Next slide, please. For folks watching not in our server, our Discord is where all the community stuff is happening. That's where we do most of our development, do most of our conversations about how to improve the protocol. So please join our community with this QR code and jump in and join the fun. And we also have a new product called Daydream, and that will be for real-time video AI. So please scan the QR code and go to the product and check it out. And of course, that is being run on Livepeer's network, specifically using the AI functionality that we recently added to the network. Like I said, shorter show, we have an AMA with Marco from the Transcoding SPE, as well as a spotlight from Peter, who's the new lead of the AI SPE. So I'm super excited to have Marco on. I have a lot of transcoding questions. That was the origination of Livepeer's network. So I'm super excited to dig in there. All right, let's welcome up Marco. Woo! Hi there, friend. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what's up, but I can no longer hear you. So I guess I'm going to rejoin this conversation.
Oh, technical difficulties. Give us a second. Sorry about that, guys.
Great. Can you say something?
Welcome back.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay. How are you
Okay,
doing?
good. I'm doing really good. Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you and learn more about FramWorks, learn about your journey, and learn more about transcoding. So, yeah, I guess first introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, so my name is Marco. Most of the people watching this probably know me as Stronk because I've been a node operator for the past few years and I've been very active in the community. But besides that, I like to make music. I work as a software engineer at a company called DDV Tech, where I work on this server, which is a streaming media toolkit. And so, yeah, that's mostly what I do: write software and yeah, hang out, I guess, in free time, make music.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you for introducing yourself. My first question is, what inspired you and the MIST team to launch the Framework SPE, and what specific gap in library ecosystem are you aiming to fill?
Yeah. Yeah. So the Mist server team has very long standing ties with the Livepeer ecosystem. Maybe not as directly as we've been recently, of course, but back when I was still in university, Livepeer Inc. was already a customer of Mist server. So when I joined the team, I first learned of them, started running the nodes, of course, and we've experienced the growth of the Livepeer ecosystem together since then. And but yeah, now the network is growing and expanding in new capabilities, and so this pivot to AI is very exciting for me as a node operator as well, of course, because now I get to compete for stake and earn more fees. So that's great and all, but it leaves a little bit of a gap on the transcoding side of things, and so that's where we think we can really jump in, being a media software company, so
Right.
that we can be more like a studio light and carry the torch forwards on the non-AI stuff. And which means that we will maintain the transcoding pipeline and make it easy for people to use it in a way by providing a bit of the same toolkits that Studio has, but probably not as mature. They've been working on this for years, but we can get a good CDN going, of course, with some nice integrations.
Awesome. And I guess like a personal question for me is, as FramWorks SPE kind of gets moving, how are you seeing like support for transcoding in the community? Because I know that like a lot of people are still very interested in that aspect of Livepeer's network. And as Ink's focus has shifted more to Daydream, yeah, how are you seeing that responsibility for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, you're also going to need a point of contact for the supply side because they will always run into issues. I also think it's important that we just keep developing it because there are still some gaps that can be addressed to make the transcoding offering a bit more robust. And hopefully at some point, because we now have two job types, which is transcoding and AI, hopefully we'll see more job types like storage or also
Mm,
being a CDN node. Delivering directly to viewers would be a really exciting use case, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, of course. But
mhm.
yeah, transcoding is always going to be very important part of any media pipeline because you
Right.
basically need it to keep your costs manageable.
Right. And then, for those less technical, how should we understand the value of strong transcoding pipelines for the broader Livepeer ecosystem? Because I know transcoding is one of those things that like not everybody
Mhm.
fully knows because it's a little bit more back end in terms of like how you
Yeah.
consume media. But yeah, please.
Yeah, people are very spoiled with modern products like Netflix and YouTube, where you just click on a button and within 2 seconds you have a video on your screen. But there is just so much that goes on behind that. First, you have to ingest your notes, you have to process it by, for example, transcoding or live video AI. Maybe you need some storage or analytics or access control. You need to deliver it to viewers. And so, at first glance, it may sound like transcoding is just one small part of this
Mm,
entire package, which it is. But when it comes to the costs of the entire pipeline, it's going to be bandwidth is most of your costs, and so you kind of need transcoding because if you get very high bitrate inputs, you need to make them all very very small. Otherwise, you're going to be paying tens of thousands of
right.
euros just for one stream, right? So yeah, it's about managing costs, and as I said, there's still some untapped potential, some room for new job types. Like if I have a big video on demand library and I want to transcode that, I don't really want it as quickly as possible and as cheapest as possible, which is how the network currently works. Maybe I want to wait a little bit longer or pay a little bit more to get a higher quality. So for those kinds of things, there's still lots of room to provide value and complete this feature offering.
Right. And I think, something we definitely take for granted in the internet age is like instantaneous live video is actually like a pretty wild concept if you think about
Mm.
it. And the fact that we have been able to make that work is impressive. So kind of curious about the biggest bottlenecks in media pipelines, maybe explaining to people like why is it so expensive? I know that there's a lot of like stuff out there about streaming companies operating at not a huge loss, but like it being a very expensive thing to maintain.
Yeah, yeah. So it's so as I said, it's mostly bandwidth, right? Because if you have 10,000 viewers, you need already like a 20 gigabit server to maintain only those few amounts of viewers. And like if you need lots of transcoding, you can always just put a bunch of GPUs
For those
or
unaware, like how much is 20 gigabit? Like, is that a lot, a little?
yeah. So most consumers they don't even have a 1 gigabit connection, and so if you go to a professional data center, they will be like, okay, you need 20 gigabits per server. That's going to cost you 3,000 euros per server, and so if you have 300,000 viewers, that's 300,000 euros as well, and that's only for the bare server costs. There's a lot more overhead that goes along with that, especially because most companies also use cloud infrastructure like Google BigQuery for analytics and that kind of stuff. So you just need to manage all that bandwidth, and you can't really say take one server and give it 200 gigabits per second. You need lots of servers for that, and they all need coordination and yeah. So the first DCDN that's actually doesn't compromise on the latency or scalability. It's going to be really disruptive, but I don't think we've seen it just yet. But I'm still waiting for it.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and when we think about Livepeer in relation to um, Livepeer in relation to like these other competitors, um, how is Livepeer kind of helping with that problem space for those who are less familiar with the project?
Yeah. Yeah, so of course, like the transcoding bit is way cheaper than you will find it at other providers. Now, there is one issue where like centralized providers, they will have a whole complete package, and they will say like, "Oh, our transcoding is free," but then you're paying 10 times the
Mhm.
cost on delivery on your bandwidth cost, so
Oh,
you're still
interesting.
paying more money. So but usually they bundle it up in a nice package, and I think that's where there's still a bit of a gap between Livepeer and the real world. Is that people they don't want only transcoding; they want to make their whole video pipeline, easy and accessible. They don't want to deal with any of the codecs and ingest protocols. They just want to stream into it and get a stream out of it. And so there's still lots of steps to make there for Livepeer, but at least the transcoding part, it's quick and it's cheap. So that's a great start to build on, I guess.
Gotcha. So there's a level of like convenience that a lot of companies are willing to pay for because it's not a competitor that's, more competitively priced for that convenience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. A more fun question. What's fun or not about working in this industry? I mean, I know that you're definitely like very technical on that end. So I'm just super curious, like how does it feel to be a part of it?
Yeah. Well, the good part is, ironically, the customers, like as an engineer, you don't like customers because they always give you way more work than you can handle. But the same side, they usually come with the cool ideas, right? So we have one of our customers is ESL. They do live event streaming. They do the biggest Counter-Strike tournaments in the world, I think.
Wow.
So one time they took us backstage to one of their production environments, and it was insane. They had whole trucks outside which folded outwards, and they fit the whole production crew in it. So that's cool. Or a car manufacturer making autonomous vehicles, or a random guy making bird's nests with a camera in it. So you get lots of random use cases, and it's exciting to see them build something cool with it, I guess. So, but of course, as an engineer, you're mostly in an office, so you don't get lots of sunlight, and maybe skip one or two too many lunches a week. But so yeah, it's stressful, but as long as I can bear the costs mentally, I'm going to keep doing this because it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, like, at least in my perspective, video has become the most important form of online content, and just in terms of like human communication, I think humans are much more privy to like media consumption or like video consumption rather than like text consumption, right? Because if you think about the world isn't textual, right? You see with your eyes, and like maybe if you're blind, it's more textual, but for most people who are sighted, like we show up in the world that way, and that's why I think like TikTok and these other platforms have been so successful. YouTube as well. So yeah, any thoughts? Any more thoughts on the industry as a whole?
Well, yeah, it's going to be very tricky to compete with the likes of TikTok or YouTube, because not only do they have quick loading videos, they also have the filters and stuff. Like, good luck replicating all of that, but hopefully we'll get there someday. Maybe Streamplay's bet is going to be a good first step to bring decentralized video into the spotlight, and from there, hopefully, it's just the ball gets rolling. But we'll see. You already see, for example, also like storage. They are like a crypto storage provider, but they are also in the Web2 scene. So it's already, making its way through the cracks where people that hate crypto are still using it. Maybe they're not aware about it, but it's already making its way into a mainstream market.
Yeah, 100%. I think that people have a certain perception of crypto or Web3, but that's why I use the word Web3 infrastructure, right? I think that there's a layer of this more kind of like hype and like kind of speculative narrative, but fundamentally it is a technology that is driving value and is giving something to a lot of people. And I think that is what people don't see as much, because it's like the projects really working on this are often more technical, right? Are often less in the public view, and the things that get the hottest stories are the things that are scams or whatnot. So we're definitely fighting a narrative uphill battle, but I think I'm grateful to be at Livepeer because I think we're one of the few projects that's like really pushing hard on how are we delivering value with decentralized technology, and have a really strong use case and fees on network. Not many Web3 companies can say the same.
Yeah, I think it's one way it's admirable that we never fell into the trap of like really shilling the project and going hard on the LPT price everywhere. Of course, I would love for LPT to reach $100, make a lot of money, of course, but it's the heavy focus on development and just trying to ship stuff and bringing real value. That's an admirable trait of the existing Livepeer leadership, which you see from Doug and Eric.
And just for folks who are watching, part of the reason I wanted to start Fireside is I want to showcase all the amazing people that are working on this, like Marco. And for folks who are interested in, I know we mentioned Streamplace. We did an AMA with Eli a few weeks back, so you can always jump onto the YouTube and watch the one from a few weeks ago where he was kind of talking about Streamplace and like what that looks like. Okay, we're running up on the end, so I have one more question. We'll have two more questions, but the first one more substantial. How do you scale up to supporting hundreds of thousands of viewers and like in the context of Livepeer? So how do we get to that level through this more decentralized vision of transcoding?
Yeah. So it's two parts, right? First of all, you need the pipeline behind it. So it's actually supporting that many viewers. You probably don't need that many GPUs even, because you take one stream of the ingest node, you transcode it on the Livepeer network, for example, and then you can just replicate that stream to hundreds or thousands of edge delivery nodes. And so that's the biggest part of it. Technically, you need 1,000 servers, and they all need to be coordinated. Like, where is which stream on which server, and how can they reach it? How can they make a clip out of it using the API? And you need to track statistics, viewer counts, that kind of stuff. So, but that's even comparably the easy part, because once you have the pipeline, you still need to actually reach all of those viewers. And
Right.
So it's a big part of it's just marketing and making your platform appealing to people. And for example, StreamEth is really cool. They have I tried their platform once. They have some nice integrations. I think they had some AI stuff in there already as well. So it's about just making it really, really accessible for the user. They can't have any friction compared to their existing offerings, which are YouTube and Twitch and Prime Video and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, I've been calling it the productization of Livepeer's network. Right, we're trying to get these products that can are of course connected to Livepeer, but have this this broader appeal. My perspective has always been, if we think of the Web3 market, how many people are in the Web3 market fully? How do we get that broader consumer appeal? And I think Daydream, that's why it's super compelling. Daydream is this more Web2 experience that you don't have to know that it's running on Livepeer. And I think that a lot of the way the industry is going to move to is this back-end technology that you don't really have to engage directly with, but can if you desire, if you want to be a part of the community of securing the network, right? And I don't think everyone has to know about that or love that or care about that for it to still happen and be valuable.
Yeah, but the good thing about Daydream as well is that even if you don't appreciate the current offering, which I can understand because it's a bit gimmicky, of course they can still fix most of the complaints in terms of flickering and stuff. That's temporal consistency. But the steps that come after this are even more exciting, because then you have a generic AI pipeline. The AI team is working on those bring your own containers, which we can also use, by the way, for FramWorks, because we also want to offer Livepeer-powered AI jobs, live AI stuff, but not the kind that Studio offers. Of course, they're already way ahead of us there. So but I'm really excited about all of these other live video pipelines, like detecting, classification, also stuff like speech to text, or maybe even text to speech. Lots of opportunities still to explore.
Okay, amazing. Well, last question is, how can people find you if they have questions, if they want to connect? What are the places to do that?
Yeah, well, the best place is Discord, because I'm basically always online. If not online, I have my phone on me and it will ring if someone messages me. But I also I have a website, strong.tech, where there's a contact form, or you can reach me on Telegram. I'll even have a business WhatsApp number somewhere on there. So don't call me, but it's yeah. Or at the Mist server website, of course, we also have a Mist server inbox and a phone number and stuff. So, but best place is Discord.
Well, Marco, thank you for all the hard labor for the network and everything you're doing on the transcoding side. Super important. Like I said, it's the foundation of where Livepeer started, and I think it will continue to be very valuable in terms of developing it further. So thank you for taking that piece and running with it. So have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for having me, and I'll enjoy the rest of the show in the audience.
All right. What a good conversation. Super informative. Thank you again, Marco, for sharing with the community and larger audience about transcoding and about the FramWorks SPE. Next up, we have a spotlight from Peter from the ASP, who's the new leader of the ASP. So welcome, Peter. Oh, cool glasses.
Thank you, and sorry I had to relocate outside here today, so
You're so okay.
we're gonna have to do with sunglasses, hiding the bags under my eyes as well, because we've been real busy over here at the AI
I also been
SPE.
getting bad sleep recently. All right, well, I'll let you take it away and share with folks your spotlight.
Well, first, just wanted to highlight that voting is live for the Stage 4 AI Video SPE proposal. It's up on the Treasury, so feel free to hop over there and give that a read. It's been up in the forum for a little over a week now, and really just excited to, if we want to dive into any details on the new initiative or the continuing initiative for Bring Your Own Container, which we've really accelerated the roadmap on that. So, so to speak, in that I think we were originally, I've updated the doc that is linked from the proposal. We had scoped it for later this year, if not next year. And I
Oh, wow.
just really felt with the team agreeing that we should move this up in the roadmap. And there are a number of points where it kind of really plugs into our key strategy. And be happy to dive in there a little bit, because I think I can elaborate a little bit on how ComfyStream fits in there historically and where we're planning to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, share with the community the roadmap and how you're thinking about the priorities there.
Well, speaking of roadmaps, one of the major additions and changes in the proposal since it first went onto the forum was the kind of specificity around when and how we're going to be delivering Bring Your Own Container. This is an initiative that has a really, really broad scope and a long timeline, where we've just landed initial prototype implementations in main and go Livepeer, and our design partners have been informing where we're going to go from here, but the planning of before execution on most of these aspects of BYOC is in progress now, and in deliverables we're going to be sharing out a request for comments, as well as subsequently a BYOC specific roadmap with timelines.
Okay, very cool. And then how does ComfyStream play into things?
Well, I think maybe worth starting with where ComfyStream arose from. And back nearly a year ago, when I joined the AI SPE, there were kind of, let's say, AI SPE water cooler sessions where we could bat around ideas for the future. And one of these really was specific around being able to provide a low friction and fast iteration platform for designing workflows specific to AI pipelines, and specific to using media like images or graphics, or video as input. And we all kind of thought, oh, ComfyStream has this cool version of that kind of, Comfy UI, this tool for graphic designers and other AI involved artists to quickly iterate on their ideas and bring in community collaborations or models or other workflows created by community users. And it's become a pretty fast growing, I think, ecosystem, as a more granular control over pretty much everything in your pipeline versus a tool like Automatics. And so we looked into using the library that they had leveraged to create Comfy UI, and we're building out a bit of a kind of a control plane that would sit on top of kind of our batch jobs at that time. And then out of the blue, Yondon came to us with this idea, and it really kind of flipped our idea on its head and how these pipelines would be orchestrated. And John has done an amazing idea, really leading that initiative and bringing that to the stage where it is able to be distributed as a Docker image or Docker file for people to run anywhere. easy deployment for both a CompUI environment to run the work or to build the workflows, and a CompuStream environment, which is our own, again, a Yondan Fu initiated project, but that we adopted early to be able to allow you to feed video streams via webcam or OBS in and out of a CompUI workflow. And up until now, really, the demonstrations we've been seeing in Daydream in particular is our first and right now only customer of that product. And what you've seen there is specifically just one workflow. So the backend that's running all of that is, for lack of a better term, infinitely capable, or infinite number of variations on a workflow like that. And one of our big deliverables, as noted in the proposal, is a data channel, so to speak, as it's being referred to now, whereby we'd be able to have a real-time data streaming through a CompUI pipeline. So there could be nodes that incorporate different machine learning abilities or other models such as like video intelligence or transcription, or even, as was noted, speech to text, which could then be translated and subtitled, or any number of segmentation tasks that could be used to identify objects and track them. And that, I think, is really exciting in conjunction with BYOC, because one of the strengths of BYOC is decoupling a lot of the logic and responsibility from Go Livepeer and AI Runner in a way that allows customers to deliver different types of media and in real time bidirectionally, where making these kind of changes has been fairly opinionated, and we've overloaded our current solution of AI Runner. And it's great, and it's going to inform what we're moving forward with. But our new implementation, it's still being shaped by our work with design partners right now.
Okay, very cool. And for those who don't know, Peter took over leadership of the AI SPE from Rick, who's now moving to Livepeer's foundation, or Livepeer Foundation, excuse me. So tell me about, like, how are you thinking about, that handover? What are you bringing with fresh eyes? Like, tell me.
Well, I'm particularly excited for this new stage in the network, specifically around foundation and advisory boards. And I think that, especially coming into this role, I feel like I'm suited to assist in this kind of transition from a kind of arbitrary purveyor of AI jobs batch on the network to what the capacity we've been recently. We've been working in conjunction with Livepeer Inc. and really helping build out this first example of our workload abstraction tool, or CompuStream. And I think we're considering, this is an odd perspective to some maybe, but really how we're looking at Inc. as a customer who's been providing us support to help launch their project. Right now we're doing some amazing work. We're kind of a crack skunkworks team doing acceleration on diffusion components that we've seen no example of in the wild, doing it the way with the flexibility and speed we're doing. So excited for next steps there. But we'll continue that kind of research and be putting out reports as we are able to deliver those in form of, delivering in form of CompuStream or CompuUI nodes that could be used with CompuStream, just to kind of allow, once we bring CompuStream onto a BYOC environment, builders who are familiar or want to become familiar with the CompuUI workflow building process can ostensibly permissionlessly deploy on their nodes a set of models that they've either used from some of the workflows we share or in our research, or their own creations, and get those onto the network as fast as possible. And with the new data channel, the possibilities expand way beyond just video creation. And that, I think, is a direction that, where we focus on there specifically is going to be increasingly determined by community input more than it has been able to in the past, which was pretty much limited to direct communications or delegator voting, where here we have, a couple different growth and network advisory boards specifically that will be gathering community input and helping us decide directions that we would take that would further benefit the community and in response to actual community input, not just us being siloed or being beholden to one customer. So it's a really exciting time to expand our possibilities on the network and what the AI SPE is actually going to be delivering that the community wants.
Awesome. I do have one more curiosity, and then let you have some any other things you want to tell folks. But from the BD and growth perspective, and I'm not sure this is necessarily your specialty or focus at all as a more engineer, but I'm curious if you have any thoughts as the new lead at ASP on what either that collaboration will look like or that world's going to look like for us to continue to grow that customer base, as well as grow the number of interesting applications that BYOC integrates. Or let's build on that.
Right. Well, I think that particularly we're kind of shifting a lot from where we started as the SPE, or we tried to take on a lot last summer. I think it's more crucial to that.
That is true.
We're a very constrained team. We really have, only a handful of members, and some of us are part-time, full-time, as well as John. And running a bounty program was a great idea, and we'd continue to potentially submit ideas for bounties, but administration of such a bounty board and all of that coordination, outside of obviously PR request reviews and merging and such, I think we're definitely delegating that over to the foundation and advisory boards in however way they can assist in that. That's not solidified yet, but sometimes you have to do less to do more. And we're focusing our efforts on what we're good at, which is engineering. And so in addition, we're not going to be pursuing the same kinds of what I refer to in the proposal, kind of as vertically integrated SaaS, or where we are specifically going to deliver and put our man hours into delivering an actual solution for one particular customer. While that's driven fees in the past, if they don't want to use it, well, maybe nobody's using it.
Right.
And again, where the community comes in, what are the things the community wants to see the most on the pipeline, and we can accelerate that engineering potentially with the help of grants and bounties, but by providing the foundation for people to build these things on, and in a way that doesn't require lengthy multi-repo pull requests in AI Runner and Go Livepeer and in the container. So we're looking to really facilitate that growth more than anything through our engineering efforts and expertise, and what we've learned over the past year.
Awesome. Well, that sounds amazing. I think that, I've seen you guys over the, I guess, is it even years now, or, maybe a little over a year?
Yeah, 24.
So
wow. A year and a half now.
Yeah. So, I've been watching the efforts, and, I think you guys were taking on a lot, and I do like to hear the honing of a focus, because it's gonna, serve, I think, everybody as we kind of continue to grow as an ecosystem. But last question is if you, have any, or maybe not question, if you have any other things you want to tell folks, and then if not, we can wrap up.
Just really excited to take on this new role and responsibility. It's a shift in how I've been working, but I've just been so lucky to work with a great team and build rapport and have these skilled engineers who know the stack inside and out working with me. And I'm going to be hoping I can contribute as much in code capacity, but hopefully removing more lines than I add, to be honest. So old metric that no longer serves us, but I think simplifying things and is going to really serve us well. And of course, thanks to the whole team. And again, head over to the Treasury page in the Explorer and vote on our stage 4 proposal. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Peter. Yeah, I'm super excited. I think everyone is for your continued amazing effort, and I'm excited for you to lead it forward into the grand future we have. So super excited. Thank you so much. And catch Peter in the Discord. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. I know we went over a little longer, but just was having a conversation with folks, and I think the more we can highlight what everyone's doing, the more powerful our ecosystem will become. So this last call to join the community, that's where most things are happening. Like I said, if you want to connect with any of these folks, they're all very active in our server. So scan the QR code, and we'll see you in the Discord. But until next week, this has been Livepeer's Fireside. And again, thanks everyone for joining and for watching. And if you want to catch it, miss something, we'll be putting it on YouTube, and we'll also be making some short clips for social media for folks to consume that way. Anyway, bye everyone.